Hey, Christine.
Hey, what?
Do you like wine?
Is that a real question?
Do you ever drink wine that's so good that you want to drink it again, but you can't remember the name?
Literally every time.
Did you know that there is an app that can not only help you relive some great experiences and teach you information all about the wine you've had, but can also teach you all about wine that you could have with other friends in the future? Did you know that's called Unwine?
Oh, that's even better. I love puns.
So Unwine's a social app made just for you to record your wine experiences and discover new wines with your friends.
Oh my God.
So check out the app in the App Store. It's called Unwine, and start discovering wine the fun and social way.
Oh, you know I'm excited, and hopefully they'll come up with a milkshake one for you soon. But for now, all you team wine, get on it.
This is just for team wine. Wine does not have to be complicated. Just have fun and unwine.
Oh, you know I will.
Unwine.
Unwine, guys.
This is a good time to record then.
All right. And we're live in the studio.
In Christine's kitchen. Welcome to episode 19 of And That's Why We Drink.
It's actually 18. I just accidentally called it 19. Oh, wait, no, it's 19.
It's 19. Christine, God damn it. You would think 20 episodes in, maybe we'll know what's going on. Okay, welcome to 18 or 19.
Just one of them.
We have our first guest on the show, which is my best friend since we were 6 years old.
Oh my God.
Her name is Deirdre.
We're so excited.
And do you want to say hello, Deirdre?
Hello, Deirdre.
Hello.
There you go.
There she is.
We're also all learning today because we've had never used 3 people in a 2-person equipment audio system. So it's going to be interesting. Christine and I are going to get very close sharing one microphone.
Ooh.
And we're going to let our guest professionally have one microphone.
It'll be
own.
like Lady and the Tramp.
So before we go anywhere, I have 2 announcements.
Okay.
One, well, actually, hang on. Elevator music. Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, because it's our 19th episode.
Uh-huh.
Kirk, who has done our logo.
Kirk is our idol, by the way.
He listens to every single one of our episodes religiously.
God.
Found something for you.
What?
And I've had this since episode 15 and wanted me to give it to you on our 19th episode. So
Kirk.
close your eyes.
Okay.
Close your eyes.
Oh my God, I'm sweating.
It's heavy.
I'm sweating.
Okay.
Yay!
So you already have an alcohol in front of... Okay. You already have alcohol in front of you, but I'm sure that's going to be gone very soon.
Oh my God, Kirk got me the 19 Crimes wine that we always talk about.
And never get sponsored by.
And that I'm too cheap to buy. And it's 19 Crimes for our 19th episode.
So apparently 19 Crimes is a wine bottle that... It's like a wine company that every different type of wine has a different label of a different criminal.
And then on the back, they have their mugshot and like explain what they did.
So that's one thing.
Uh-huh. Wait, there's more?
So as you guys know, in like the last million fucking episodes, it's my birthday today.
Yeah, let's take a moment to remind everyone.
So Deirdre got me a birthday present, but it was so good that you're going to fucking love it. So I want you to have the same experience I did. Okay, Deirdre says it's a present for Christine.
Yeah, thanks, Deirdre.
Deirdre will be on the mic pretty soon, but I needed to steal the moment just so everyone can experience this. So close your eyes.
Okay.
You're going to lose your fucking mind, Christine.
You're making me so nervous.
You're going to lose your fucking mind.
Okay. I'm sweating.
Go.
Holy shit!
Isn't that the coolest thing in the world?
Did you make this?
Yeah.
I know.
I don't have...
I know. For people who who are not here.
English has escaped me. Continue. Explain.
Was it a cross stitch? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Deirdre did a cross stitch of me and Christine with it's like a whole scene of And That's Why We Drink as a cross stitch. And she's got me with a hat and a milkshake. Christine's got her hearty glass of wine filled to the brim. And there's ghosts and bloody knives.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
It's pretty awesome. We'll take a picture and post it. Christine, all day...
Oh my God!
We saw each other yesterday, and it took everything in me to not tell you.
How did you not?
It was so hard.
I would have lost my mind.
You're doing it right now.
My armpits are sweating. I'm literally sweating through my shirt. I might have to change.
Okay, well, anyway,
Dude, Kirk and Deirdre are now my new favorite people in the world.
There you go.
Sorry.
It's been done.
To everyone else.
So anyway, those were my 2 announcements.
I don't want to let go of it, though.
Okay, you can hang on to it. You can have it. Well, no, you can't have it. But you can, hang on to it.
Can I just have a photo of it so that I can make it
we have to post it for people to see.
my phone background?
Well, also, I told Deirdre, I was like, I don't think you know this about Christine, but she does cross-stitching. So
yeah.
you basically gave us the greatest gift.
This is like...
So there you go.
And now I like you even more because I'm like, you cross-stitch too.
Yeah. My best friend in LA and my best friend in Virginia are meeting, by the way, as of yesterday. So this is their second time hanging out.
And exchanging cross-stitch. Mine just says fuck 2016 right now, but but this one is like a new level.
So there you go.
I'm like sweating. Thank you, Kirk, and thank you, Deirdre. And it's not even my birthday, but I'm just so emotional.
It's your birthday tomorrow.
It is in like 6 hours or 4
and
hours.
in a while, we'll probably still be here recording.
I guarantee you we'll still be recording in 4 hours.
So those were my 2 announcements.
Kirk, thank you so much for the wine. That is amazing.
What are your announcements?
Well, now I'm just all
Get your shit together.
discombobulated, guys. I'm sweating. Okay. I do want to say that someone named Paul Davies on Facebook wrote in and just said, here, I thought you'd enjoy this. And it's a joke.
Okay.
I like jokes. I like jokes. Are you ready?
Is it a good joke?
Yeah. Why don't people tell many jokes about the Reverend Jim Jones? Because
Why?
the punchline is too long.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Holy shit.
Come on. That's a good one.
That's rough. All right, good. I hope he's a dad.
It's
I
a
hope he
good
says
one.
that to
A dad
humiliate his
joke.
kids.
And then, okay, so thank you, Paul. That was really funny. Short and sweet. Also, Ethan wrote an email,
Okay.
and he said, just want to share this little tidbit. It's not paranormal, but my friends seem to think it was a crime. Em talked about how she said fucking 4 out loud to a Starbucks barista.
Yes, I did that.
Regarding the number of chocolate shots she wanted. This reminded me of the time I told a Chipotle barista, barista? Is that
I was one of those, and I don't even know what it's called.
Oh, well, okay. The Chipotle employee out loud to, quote, mess me up with corn. I can tell you the stares I got were the stuff of legend. Ya boy just wanted some corn.
Fun fact, I worked at Chipotle just to learn the recipe for the corn, and then I quit.
Oh, what? Oh
so
my God.
You
And Ethan are the same person.
Ethan
And then I
gets
wrote
me.
back, oh man, this is scarier than any crime story we've ever received. And he wrote, ouch AF.
Okay, well, thanks, Ethan, for being one of us.
And so I think that's all I got to tell you today. Little fun facts.
That's a good fun
Oh,
fact.
wait, there might be one more. I'm sorry. They're all like on the email.
We have so many fans. Wow, we're so unlucky.
God, there's so many people that want to talk to us. It's like, God, why don't they
like,
leave us
why
alone?
are you so obsessed with me?
Yeah, why? I don't know. Okay, where is it? Oh my God, yeah, it's about the shoes, the discombobulated feet.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm having another stroke. Hang on. Let me regain my composure. Okay, the feet. Remember, you had such a problem with the disembodied feet.
Oh, yes.
The boot, the foot in the boot.
Right. Oh, yeah, I had a really big issue with that.
She had a really big
I still
issue.
am not really over it, to be honest.
Okay, well, here you go. I've been binge listening to your podcast. I'm almost caught up. It's funny and full of friendship and creepy as fuck. Okay,
That's
good.
the goal.
That's
That's the
what we
goal.
do.
That's why we're here.
The reason I'm dropping you this note is about lost feet and shoes. You know, the sad episode about the 2 European college girls who go volunteering and get lost in the jungle and one of their feet is discovered still in a shoe.
Right.
And then Em had a thing, parentheses, conniption,
A thing is a good word, and a conniption's a better word.
about how a foot can just become detached from a body. So here you go. For a number of years, feet and shoes have been washing up along the Pacific Northwest coast and being randomly discovered by people taking walks on the beach. From 2007 to 2016, 12 human feet washed up on the shores of British Columbia.
That's 6 people.
And a few more in Washington State.
Is it 6 people, or is it 12 individual,
They've
one-footed
just
people
found-
now?
They've just found random feet. So what
That's
happens
terrifying.
is the
That's
feet
terrifying.
that have been discovered are not severed. They are disarticulated, and with the advent of air shoes such as Nike Air, Reebok Pump, and other sneakers like that, they become more buoyant. So over time, when they get disconnected from the body, they float to the surface and are pushed to the shore by currents. So they're not severed. And then she says, so hopefully that helps answer Em's question and puts her mind at rest about the feet.
Did she research that just for me? Because that's probably the nicest thing that's ever happened.
It's still creepy, but then again, that's why we drink. And I am positive there's some guy in my IT department right now wondering, what the fuck is she looking for online? She Googled,
Okay, so she did research it for
and
me.
that's why we drink, and Pacific Northwest feet and shoes.
Good. Sounds
right.
like a good time on the
Stay
internet.
thirsty, ladies. All right, thank you, Nicole.
Awesome.
So I know that this has been weighing on your mind for many weeks.
It's never left my mind since we started talking about it.
So I feel like maybe
you.
we can put it to rest, maybe?
Yeah, the door's closed on that now.
Fab.
All right. What is that? That's all announcements?
I'm drinking gin.
Okay. I'm drinking Coke. Deirdre, what are you drinking? Oh, I'm not drinking a milkshake, by the way, guys. I drank it on the way here, and I had no control. So now I'm drinking a Coke.
I'm not drinking wine because I had a psychic feeling that Kirk was going to give me a bottle of wine.
Okay, well, you were right. Deirdre, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a screwdriver.
Oh, yeah. She's the fanciest one here.
Deirdre's
No.
team wine. Can you tell?
I know. Thank God. That was my next question. What team are you on?
Team wine.
Yeah, it's definitely team wine.
Woo! I just needed to hear it out of her
20
mouth.
years of friendship means nothing.
She throws it all away.
I know. So, is this how we're talking now? Is this what we're doing?
It's
It's
really
very romantic, as I would say.
it's really sweet.
Is it interesting for you to watch?
I'm really enjoying it myself.
Can you get a picture of it for our fans if this is how we end up being for the entire show? I could feel your body heat. It's interesting.
Stop being away every time I try to take a photo. I can feel your body heat. You're such a creep.
It's special.
Okay.
It's the exact heat I'm looking for, so we're fine.
The heat of a woman.
In the heat. Okay, I'm done. All right.
Okay, so are you drinking for any reason today?
Oh my God. Yes, I am. I am really an emotional
Y'all
wreck.
are about to be bummed the fuck out.
There was a dog
Was.
who was dear to my heart. She did not die, so don't make any assumptions. But she might soon.
Oh, that's still fucking dark.
I'm presenting this in a terrible way. Okay,
Right.
let me
Maybe
start
start
over.
from the beginning.
All right. What happened was that I was on my neighborhood Facebook group. I wasn't on it. I don't like just sit on my neighborhood Facebook group.
Okay.
But I was on my news feed, and there was a picture of a dog, and this woman who lives near me wrote, I found this dog on the side of the road, abandoned, and I called the number on her tag. Her name was Sophie, and she's a German Shepherd. And she called the number, and the family said, we don't want her anymore. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, and I can't keep her in my apartment, so is anyone able to help? So I was like, Blaze, please. And my brother's out of town. So I got what I wanted, and the dog came. So the dog came over today, and it made me, and I was like, oh boy, the dog is a lot bigger. It was like 90-pound German Shepherd. It was old, like a senior dog. And then the owner the woman who found her goes, yeah, she seems to have like this big like tumor on her back. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And her, like, she was all matted and like, it was just so sad. So I tried to take care of her and gave her a bath and everything. But I was like, it's not going to work. She's too big for the apartment. She's a lot bigger than I thought. And she's like, I can't pay the medical bills. So I had to return her to the woman who found her so she can find her another family. And I just cried really too.
Christine texted me today talking about how she's just an emotional wreck all day.
I'm so sad.
It sounds like a rough time.
I miss Sophie already, and she was just so sad. And the fact that our family just abandoned her. And when they called, the daughter answered the phone and was like, "Yeah, that's my dog. That's Sophie." And then she handed the phone to her mom, and her mom goes, "No, we don't have a dog. That's not our dog. We don't want her."
That's the most fucked up part of this entire thing.
I cried for a long time today, and then that made Blaze cry. So then we were both crying, and Gio was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And that's why I drink. Why do you guys drink?
Why do you drink?
Yeah, well, I drink because I'm unemployed as fuck right now.
Hey!
Oh yeah, you haven't told anyone. You quit your job.
Oh, yeah, I could just. Sorry, Mom and Dad. They don't know.
That's why your parents drink.
Surprise! Anyway, go on.
That's it.
Listen, that was my reason
I'm a
for
vagabond.
8 weeks when we started this podcast. Every week I was like, still don't have a job. That's why I drink. It was really easy.
Yeah.
What's your reason, Em?
My reason. Okay, this is another thing that you forgot to mention, but it's definitely the reason why I drink.
Okay.
So Gio was supposed to get famous this weekend.
Oh, shit.
He had a job offer to be on a show on VH1.
He was discovered by a producer.
He was discovered by a producer. By one of our friends who helped discover him.
Okay, but on Instagram.
Right. It's a long, messy story, but basically it didn't happen. And we were very close to getting him on screen, and I was going to lose my mind.
Can you
about
imagine
it.
if Gio was on a Okay, anyway. Yeah, it was a disappointment. This weekend is really turbulent emotionally, and
It honestly would have done a lot for our podcast, so. That's all I needed it for.
You know what,
Yeah. What's
it's your birthday, so I can't yell at you. Okay.
Okay. So instead of me doing a ghost story this week, we're going to have Deirdre do it because you guys have heard me say a lot of times that I've experienced a lot of crazy stuff. And Deirdre was pretty much on my side for just about every single one of those experiences. So she's seen a lot of shit too. And I was like, well, you're perfectly qualified to tell a ghost story then. So maybe. I'm gonna pass it on.
You made the cut, really.
You made the cut.
So this will be fun because she'll tell a story and then Em and I will share a microphone and we've never done this before where we both reacted to something.
We might both gasp at the same time.
Can you imagine?
Did you see on this? It says #gasp at the end of the cross stitch.
What happened was that I looked at it and I went, right as I saw it and I went, oh my God, this is so meta. So I couldn't even explain it. It says #gasp and #let's crack. I can't even handle this right now.
It's so funny though too, like when I was doing it, because I hadn't met you in person and I texted Emily and I was just like randomly, I was just like, how is Christine short? Is she tall? What does she look
I'm shorter
like?
than Em. I look just like that, actually.
Yeah, you did it pretty well.
We did. It turned out. Okay.
I'm a brunette with a glass of wine. That's really it. I'm like a white girl with a glass of wine. That's what it boils down to.
So anyway, you did a good job. So also, please be very understanding that if I sound really far away or if my audio's fucked up, it's because I'm playing ping pong with microphones that aren't mine. So I'm just kind of hanging out in the background this time.
She's like the third wheel trying to get attention. You know?
Yeah, I'm just kind of shouting out, waving my hand in the back of the class. So. Okay, so I'm going to move over to you. Okay, elevator music. Okay, so we're going to start with your story. I don't even know what you wrote about. You said the name and I already don't remember.
Yes. So I picked the Hilltop House Hotel in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia.
Oh, okay. This is going to be good.
Wait,
So-
I've never heard of this, so.
Yeah, it's like a tiny little place, but there's actually been quite a few people who've visited, like noteworthy people. And I picked it because I actually stayed there once and had a crazy experience.
No
so,
way!
Yeah, yeah.
Shit! Okay, even
Okay.
better.
Yeah, so that's why I really wanted to do it. I was thinking about doing the homestead for a little bit because me and Emily had both been there, but
Yeah, we still have differing
we can
views
talk
on what happened that night.
we'll get into that later.
I mean, we'll crack into it later.
Oh,
We'll-
yeah.
We'll crack into that.
There we go.
Okay, so also Harper's Ferry is a big thing in our area. Everyone kind of
Right.
knows it as a haunted spot. So I know about it just from living in Virginia, but I've never been.
Yeah, just like anybody who grew up in the South probably got a lot of Civil War history.
Yes.
So yeah, that's actually why we went there. Was for class.
We went there for class?
I think it wasn't with the school. It was like my stepmom's idea of like an enriching trip. I don't know.
What a stepmom.
Whatever. It ended up being interesting. But like Harpers Ferry is like such a weird little town, and it's like literally, I think it's like a population of 500 people. So
That's tiny.
yeah, it's tiny and super weird.
It's tiny because I've heard of it.
Have you?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have.
I've heard of it, but I didn't know it was so tiny. I
It-
just assumed it was.
It's small. But like to give a little bit of background on the Hilltop or Harpers Ferry, I guess first.
Sure.
So the town is located at the confluence.
The what? Confluence?
Like where the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers meet.
Okay.
Confluence.
Confluence.
Yeah, confluence.
Nailed it. God.
Bam!
Yeah, so it's best known for the 1859 raid on the armory by abolitionist John Brown during the Civil War.
That guy.
I remember learning about that.
Yes, John Brown, and he
Okay.
was not successful, and then they hung him.
Yikes.
Yeah, they hung him in Harpers Ferry.
Okay, so that was that one of the first deaths, you think? You don't have to know. I just-
It's one of many. So that's the other thing about, because it was located where the two rivers met, it was a really strategic place for people to be during
Gotcha.
the Civil War. And because of that, it changed hands 8 times during the Civil War.
Oh my god.
They just
Okay, so a lot of shit happened there.
Yeah, there's a ton of deaths.
Oh god.
Yes. And then later on, Harper's Ferry became very like bougie and popular.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, like
That took a
after
sharp
this-
left turn.
But that's because besides it being on the two rivers, it also had the B&O Railroad going through it. The Baltimore and Ohio Railroad.
Oh.
That's in Monopoly.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, well, there you go.
You buy the B&O Railroad property?
Yeah,
I'm very historically not there. I don't know
I
what's
didn't know
going
about
on.
this part either, but apparently, because it had the railroad going through, everyone from the DMV, which for people who don't know, Emily thought I was talking about the Department of Motor Vehicles.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, no, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Okay, to be fair, I knew about
What?
the DMV. I just thought we were talking about a very different conversation.
No.
Okay, I was wrong.
No.
DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Yeah, so all the
area.
really wealthy people ended up coming to Harper's Ferry to vacation and honeymoon. It was a really big honeymoon place for whatever reason. So there's a quote from the newspaper, and this is during the early 20th century because that's when it became really popular. And the mayor said, quote, "Society people came from the city for the whole summer or for a week or two during the racing season over at Charlestown. At Hilltop House, guests included bank presidents, businessmen, and real high society."
I want to jump off a bridge.
I wrote that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird though to go back now and
You wrote that about me.
yeah,
Exactly it.
High society.
Deirdre Ghost wrote it.
During racing season.
exactly. So the hotel itself is situated it's literally on a cliff. And
Good.
What?
It is built on the side of a cliff, and it overlooks I think it's the Shenandoah River. And I've been there, so the restaurant, it hangs off the cliff.
Oh,
it's scary.
fuck?
It's scary.
I'm not
It was-
into that.
It
Are
was
you
pretty
serious?
creepy. I'm dead serious.
Have you been to the restaurant?
Yes.
Do you feel
We visited.
safe eating?
I did not feel safe. I will tell
eating.
you, because you're literally hanging over this cliff, and this is an old ass hotel.
And what year was this hotel built?
Yeah, so it was built in 1888.
All right, Em,
that.
chill the fuck out. She's going to tell you in 2 seconds.
And it's actually pretty interesting. It was built by Thomas S. Lovett, who is a local man, and he was of African American descent.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
In 1888?
yeah, isn't that it's
Jesus.
impressive?
Wow.
Yeah. And the reason he ended up wanting to do it in Harper's Ferry was because of the John Brown's raid. It's this very important
Okay.
place.
That's so interesting.
African American culture.
Wow.
So originally the hotel had 65 guest rooms, and then it obviously you could see both the rivers from it, and you could also had views of 3 different states
Holy
of
shit.
Virginia. Yeah, because it's right.
That's prime realty today.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
You can see the
Virginia,
DMV
you
from
can
the-
see
You
it
can see,
all.
you can see Russia
You can
from
see
your
Ohio
house.
actually too. So yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
Anyway,
Sarah Palin, talk about high society, am I right?
yeah.
I'm sorry, keep going.
She probably liked this hotel.
I'm sure she would.
So the hotel burned down in 1912, and then they rebuilt it, and it burned down again in 1917.
Sounds like a
or
lucky house.
1918.
Yeah.
And then they built it again, and
And then it fell off a cliff, and then...
this time, okay, so they built it, and then this time they added a couple rooms on, so there are 72 rooms now.
Just a couple.
Just a few.
And the structure that's there today is pretty much exactly that building from 1918 or whatever
Oh,
when it was built.
shit.
So it hasn't changed.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
old.
That's literally as of next year, I'll be 100 years old.
it's pretty. Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
pretty
gosh.
old. Believe me.
Em's really good at math.
It's the only math I'm good at is
Got it.
subtracting
Is
by
100?
1. Subtracting by 1.
Yeah. So the hotel was visited, just to give you an idea of who was coming here, and how big of a deal it was back in its time. There was Mark Twain, Pearl S. Buck, Alexander Graham Bell, and then 7 different presidents, and that's just a couple.
7 presidents?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the place to be, guys.
Do you know do you know were they all the Virginia presidents? Because a lot of presidents are from Virginia.
Honestly,
And Ohio.
the only one I'm thinking.
And-
I think
You don't have to know.
Woodrow Wilson visited. I think Bill Clinton visited.
Oh.
I don't know. Probably
All right.
Virginia ones. I would assume
Well,
Virginia
can you
ones,
see
but I don't know.
Arkansas from there? Because then that would...
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe you can see
Maybe
the
you
hot
can. Maybe you
springs
can see it
from
all.
the Shenandoah.
Oh, Lord, guys.
Okay, so that was the history I had on it.
Good
and
history.
yes, we're going to go right into the ghosts.
Let's crack into it.
Okay, yeah. First, so I wrote my notes by hand, so they're a little disorganized, but
Perfect.
while I was doing
We
it.
wouldn't have it any other way, believe me.
So yeah, I'm gonna go back to one particular room, which appears to be the most haunted, and that's room 66.
Of course it is.
66, yes. So the first thing I wrote is employees have experienced a lot of activity.
Good.
Okay, so one night manager reported the sound of furniture being thrown around in the dining room beginning at 2 a.m. In this particular experience, every time he heard the furniture scraping, he'd go in and check, and then there's like nothing there. So he'd just go back to his desk.
Nothing's moved at all?
Nothing's moved. Like everything's fine. But he keeps hearing it and going back in to check. And then eventually at 4:30, I think he was supposed to get off at like 5 or 6. He went into the waitress pantry, I don't know, to make coffee.
Oh,
the waitress pantry?
Yes, let me go into the waitress pantry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we all have one.
And when he turned around to leave, there's a figure of a man, and it's very specific details. He said he was about 6 feet tall, red, wavy, shoulder-length hair, full beard and mustache, gray suit, and black boots, and he was blocking the doorway. But he said that he did have a kind face.
Was it like Richard
Thank
Simmons?
God.
What the fuck?
No, like... So the other thing about this hotel is that they get reports of Civil War soldiers all the time.
That sounds like a Civil War uniform. With gray suit.
Oh, the gray suit.
Yeah, the gray
Oh.
suit. So
I was picturing like a business suit.
Oh,
so
no.
I get it now. Sorry.
No, he's an elitist is in Harper's Ferry.
yeah. So and then there's been a ton of guests and employees who've reported groups of Civil War soldiers, like a battalion that walks through the halls and they walk into your rooms.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
If a battalion walked into my fucking room.
There's one where a lady said she was like sleeping and then she woke up and they were coming toward her.
Holy
like,
shit.
Charging. Yeah.
No, not today.
I
Not
do not fuck
interested.
with that.
If you imagine if you were lying down, and you saw a whole SWAT of troops just charging at
Like
you.
Civil War troops with like bayonets.
Do you know if they disappear in front of you?
Yeah, I guess she said like once you turn the light on, they just disappeared.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
I-
You have to get out of. You have to move from the shuck and turn the light on for them to go.
I just don't
away.
understand
You're
how
like,
you
"Hold on,
stay
hold
after
on."
that.
I would go home immediately.
Yeah,
pretty
I'd
wild.
be going home.
And then calling my therapist.
No, thank you. Room 66. Okay, this is the first one. Lots of activity.
I'm ready.
So the main ghost in here is supposedly a little boy who died in one of the fires. They said the last fire. Yeah. So he can be heard crying in the room, and then there's also a portrait of the young boy, of a boy like in the room, and it's been said that he cries real tears.
Wait, no, shut the fuck
I'm
up.
serious.
Wait, the
Yeah,
picture?
Yeah,
like
the picture.
tears roll
the
down
picture
right-
is supposed to cry.
Why would they do that? Get that out of there.
That's
I know.
fucked up.
It's really creepy.
Wait, why don't they just like keep a camera on that? That would be pretty cool.
I don't know.
Like a live
I think
cam.
it used to be investigated. Like there was a lady back in the 90s, and if you go like onto YouTube and look for her, her name was Shirley Doherty. She used to do like a lot of paranormal investigations there.
Right.
And I think she might.
Did she?
dead now.
Oh, yikes.
Well,
Did she see the painting?
I'm sure she has. Like I'm sure there's videos of her talking about it.
Oh my god.
Because that's a big one that people report.
That sounds like it's something that would only happen once, but like a lot of people are talking about.
yeah. People will go just to see the little
Not for me.
boy get
That's
in
not
the
my
room. Yeah. Okay, so there's a report of a maid who was cleaning room 66. She said while she was cleaning the bathtub, she heard a woman's voice behind her, like very clearly say "ma'am," and then when she turned around, there's no one there.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then this same maid, while she, I guess after she had been in the room, she was taking laundry down to I guess the basement where they do the laundry. When she was like at the foot of the steps, something shoved her.
Ooh.
Yeah, and she
Oh,
almost
no.
fell down the
At
stairs.
the foot of the steps?
Yeah.
So like she was gone.
That's like poltergeist shit.
And she was okay, but then when she looked at her like in the morning, she had a bruise on her shoulder of a handprint.
No.
And then the last one from 66 is one woman and her friends were investigating the room, and they recorded 15 minutes in there. So they were in there 15 minutes trying to get something. And then they decided they were going to go, and the door just opened up behind them.
Oh,
and they're
fuck
like,
that.
okay, great. So they left. And then later, when they were back, like trying to go over what they had recorded, they realized only a minute and a half had recorded. And when they played it, yeah, and when they played it, it was just the sound of a pistol shooting, firing.
Oh my god! What the hell? That's pretty wild.
no.
I never get to react to paranormal stories, but this is exactly how it happens. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that's so cool.
Now do you wonder why I gasp all the time?
Yeah, I get it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yowza.
Okay, one more. So another night worker, it might have been the same guy, but he went to lock the front door one night, and when he went to go and try to open it, or when he went to go try the lock, he was shoved out the front door, and then he tried to get back in, it was locked.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
fuck
locked.
that.
So then he was like out in the parking lot, I guess, walking around, trying to figure out what to do because the middle of the
Obviously.
night.
He's just like wandering around aimlessly.
I think it's just this old guy like walking around, and then he went back up to the front door. He's walking back up, and then he looked in the window, and there was a man wearing an all-white general's uniform standing on the other side, just watching him. Yeah, and then he waited a little bit, and then tried the door again, and it opened. And he went back and reviewed the footage, and he said that you could see a man pacing in the. Yeah.
No.
Yep. Yes.
That's awesome, but terrifying.
I like the part about him just like wandering the parking lot.
I know.
That's my favorite part.
That's Christine after a couple wine.
Where's my car? I can't find it.
Especially in like a town of 500 people. It's like, who's going to come help you?
Literally
There's
no
nobody.
one.
There's nobody there. And then another thing that's been reported a lot is people waking up in the middle of the night being like feeling like somebody is sitting on them and strangling them. Yes.
May I ask, did you spend the night here?
I spent the night here. I spent the night here.
Why did your exact story?
So, yeah, no. I'm gonna
no. My question is not
gonna
that.
tell you.
My question is why? Why did you do that?
So when I went,
took her on a field trip.
I don't care if someone's strangling people in their
I had
sleep.
no idea. I mean, like the internet. I mean, I guess the internet was around, but this was like 2000. This is 2002, I think, and like we had dial-up computers, so I wasn't really on the internet
Ask
much.
Jeeves.
Exactly.
Ask Jeeves was my jam.
Yeah, Ask Jeeves. Like didn't have a cell phone.
We had that
yet.
paper clip that talked to you on Microsoft Word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like, how can I help
We
you?
didn't have that.
That's all I had. So it took me a couple of years.
So you didn't know people were getting strangled in their sleep?
No,
Okay.
didn't know that.
Just gotta confirm.
Yeah, I was like in 5th grade, I think. So
Your stepmom seems like a really
Class act.
class act.
yes.
Sorry for bumping you in the face.
So that's why I saved this last ghost, because this is the ghost that I experienced.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so, and this one gets reported a lot. So if you have a room that's above the kitchen, I think it's the hours between like 2 and 5 a.m.
Please pause. Linda just posted on my timeline. I got a notification.
Sorry.
She's the first person to wish me a happy birthday. Is your mom?
Oh,
God damn it.
she would.
Because it's 3 hours ahead East Coast. So.
Oh yes, it's literally 12:08 right now, East Coast, and my mother's the first person to tell you happy birthday. Sounds like I've been replaced.
Did your mom wish you happy birthday at 12 o'clock last
No,
night?
she didn't. She called me at like 11
Oh, Linda.
a.m.
And she said, I hope that you find someone who treats you like Christine does.
Yeah, my mother called me today, and the first thing she said was, "I want you to marry a woman like Christine."
Wait, is this real?
I'm not kidding. Oh, this happened today when I went to Starbucks today. She called me and she was like, "First things first. I really like Christine for what she did for you last weekend, and I need you to find a woman that treats you the way Christine treats you."
Well,
End
that's
quote.
true.
It's true.
That's true.
That is true. You did so much. And then she ended the phone call with, "I need to meet her mother. Gotta go. I'm making Jello shots."
Yeah, I saw those pictures earlier.
Linda is my soulmate. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. I haven't read your post, but thank you.
Anyway, back to the
God
story.
bless you.
Sorry, continue. I just had like a mini meltdown. It's fine. Go on.
So this, like I said, this is one that gets reported a lot. But if you get a room, like if you stay in a room that's above the kitchen, I think both fires originated in the kitchen. So
Okay.
apparently there are a ton of ghosts down there because they were all murdered in the fire or
Okay.
died in the fire. So between the hours of like 2 and 5 a.m., you can hear pots and pans banging around. You can hear laughter, all kinds of voices, like people talking to each other.
Perfect.
So, yeah. So when I went and stayed there, and I have to explain what this hotel is like.
Please do.
Because it was supposed to be fancy. This place was fucking creepy and run down. So we went in 2002. Like, you go into the room, and it's literally like putt-putt grass.
Shut up. It's AstroTurf.
I'm dead serious.
AstroTurf carpet.
Yes, that is what was in this room.
The
I don't know if they were
classiest
all
of
like
all floor
very.
furnishings?
So that's great.
Oh my God.
And then the other thing, so the room we had, I don't know if all of the rooms were like this, probably not, but it was like one huge room with, I think there were 4 beds in there, and then there was a tiny little creepy room off the side.
You're fucking
Just listen. So
And shut the fuck up.
off to the side, so when you open it up, and the room slants downward, there's a little tiny bed in there, and apparently you can sleep in there. So my family, like, fun fact, I snore really badly.
It's true.
While we're getting to know each other.
Yeah, so everyone's just like, haha, you're gonna sleep in there tonight. And I was like, I'm not fucking sleeping in there. And then like the time came to go to sleep, and my stepmom was like, no, you really have to sleep in there.
This is your room, Harry Potter, under the
Literally,
floorboard.
that's what it was like.
I know her stepmom, and I will
You'll
confirm
vouch for that.
this that
It
that is
absolutely
exactly
happened.
something that
It
would
absolutely
happen.
How old were
happened.
you?
I was like 10?
Oh my god.
10? Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so
I don't know. I was a kid.
You were pushed in a little corner bed.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I'm in this room by myself, freaking the fuck out because this is already a creepy ass hotel.
What did it look like in that room?
It was like literally just. It looked like a tiny closet
Like
in
a
like a
walk-in
cabin.
closet?
Yeah, it was like a walk-in closet, but like all the walls were like wood.
Was there a
and-
door?
Yeah, there was a door and it closed. Like
That's
keeping
even worse.
you in
That's
there.
even
Did they
worse.
close you in?
No, I would not let that.
Okay.
You know what? They might have. The thing is, what happened was I was not cool. Obviously, a 10-year-old like trapped in this creepy ass little room. So I waited. Like I couldn't go to sleep. I was freaking the fuck out. So I waited till everyone fell asleep, and then I opened the door, and then I went and got in bed with Ian, my brother.
Right.
And so I couldn't sleep. I was just really scared because the room was creepy, and it got super cold. And this was in the middle of summer, and this is an old hotel. There's no AC. It started getting really cold, and I started hearing metal banging.
What the
And
fuck?
yeah, so I heard a ton of metal banging, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't know. I was just like, oh, it kind of sounded like somebody was throwing rocks against a dumpster. I was like, maybe it's the garbage. I was like,
Right.
is it the garbage
I mean,
truck?
you're 10, like, what do
Yeah,
you-
I was like, it sounded like maybe like garbage trucks are fucking loud, like picking up the trash cans. So I was like, I guess that's what it was. And I wasn't scared actually once I came out into there. I was like, fine. I was like, okay, they're just really loud. And then I woke up in the morning. We went down to the front desk, and I was complaining about it to my stepmom. Like, did you hear that noise last night? Like, it was
Yeah.
crazy. Lady at the front desk was like, no, those are the ghosts.
To a 10-year-old?
I was like, what?
To a fucking 10-year-old who got locked
I
in
was
a
like-
tiny ass cabin closet.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what? And she's like, oh, yeah, no. If you're in one of those rooms, the ghosts like to rearrange the pots and pans at night because they don't like how we have it set up now.
Fuck.
And I was
that.
like, oh, cool.
Oh, well, that's good.
Good. And so that was my experience there.
Did you feel like anyone staring at you or anything?
No, and honestly, like, after I left the tiny room, like, I wasn't scared at all. I was, like, really peaceful. And
Oh.
I had, like, a good experience there, but there's obviously a lot of activity. And then also when we were there, I guess another thing that happens is people, like, slam, like, or ghosts slam doors. And so it was, like, slam, 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 slam all night.
I was so worried you were going to be in that little room and they were going to slam the door.
No,
That's what I thought
oh
was
my
gonna happen,
God,
too.
no.
That's like horror movie status.
No, it was okay. We left the next day, but the thing about this hotel now is that I think it ended up closing like maybe a year or two after we had visited, and then it fell into like huge disrepair, and then a company bought it and was supposed to restore it, but right now like they haven't done anything. So it's just rotting.
Ooh.
It's literally just rotting.
Oh, shit.
And it's been sitting there. People are not happy who live in the town, and like a big thing to do is to go investigate. Like, people love to break in there because it's super easy.
Sure.
And it's really creepy, and they can get a lot of stuff. So,
Holy crap.
yeah, but they have plans to knock down the building that's standing right now and then rebuild it to the plans that they had from 1918.
So just
Oh.
another hotel, though?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And they're going to do it to the same, so it looks exactly the same.
That's the plan, but it's been sitting next year. It'll have been sitting for 10 years after that company bought it, and they haven't done anything.
Oh.
So who knows what's actually going to happen?
I guess there was the recession, so maybe they're
Yeah,
ramping back up. I don't know.
I hope so. It was a really
Maybe
cool
it's just
place.
too fucking haunted.
Sure,
Yeah.
maybe that's it.
I don't know. I've never been, but that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
That sounds pretty terrifying.
It was definitely, besides the farmhouse, I had a farmhouse experience. That was the most like real ghost experience I've
Besides
had.
the farmhouse. Oh, my God.
What was your farmhouse experience?
Okay,
Are you
Emily
allowed,
wants to
do
hear
you
it.
feel comfortable telling
Yeah,
it?
no, that's fine. So in high school, like our thing, me and Emily and like our other friends.
Oh, are you talking about Slaughter Pen?
No, it's not Slaughter Pen. Were you there?
I probably was.
Okay, she's probably there. I guarantee you she was there.
Okay.
Our thing, we used to just like go find creepy houses and like break into them.
It's already been addressed
We
on
just
the
like
show.
to, yeah, okay.
We've discussed this
So we like to
thoroughly.
explore. So my one friend, Brandon, from his backyard, you could go on this like mile-long trek through the woods, and you ended,
I don't like that.
and which was probably
This
one of the
was
worst
what we
parts.
did.
And then you ended up on this big plot, like this old farmhouse, like, and it was.
Oh my God! You walk a mile through the woods and end up at a farmhouse. What is
Yes.
wrong? What is
We're-
wrong with you people?
I don't know.
You were 17.
I don't know. It's still fun though. Like I'd go do it again right now.
I would absolutely right now.
The stupid thing is that I'm complaining, and then the second that you guys would be like, "Do you want to go?" I'd be like, "Yes."
I do.
Let me take my
Trust me.
Ativan, and then I'll be there in a moment.
Oh yeah, no. So one time we had been there before, and it wasn't much, but this one time we went back, and Emily was there, and then a bunch of other people. And so when you go into this house, first of all, there's a basement in the house, and it has this creepy fucking well in the bottom of it, like that one story you, that one place. What was it?
Oh,
The portal to hell.
the Bobby Mackey's.
Yes.
Bobby Mackey's
Yes,
house.
there's a well like that in the basement.
No.
So I never went into the base. I would not. But yeah, so we went into the house. When you go in, you go to the back and then to the right, and then there's this room with like child handprints all over the walls. And like, yeah, which is disgusting.
You can't see Christine's face, but she's fucking over this story.
Yeah.
I'm not having any of this.
And we'd been in there before. And did you come in with us?
Not the time, not this.
You were. I think Emily was outside.
Yeah, I was like, fuck
And-
this.
So
Even Emily was scared.
we're in there, and like my one friend is like a dickhead. So he goes in there, and we're in high school. So he starts breaking shit. Like he's
What?
Yeah, he's just being a dick. Like he's.
Such a high school guy
I know.
thing to do.
He's like pulling things out of the wall, like the lights and stuff, and messing around. And then out of nowhere, like in that room with the handprints, there's like this crazy growl. Like I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that.
no, thank you.
It was horrifying. No, it was like Satan.
Wait, I have a question about the handprints. Were they like paint handprints or like dust?
I don't know. It looked like maybe
They were
like
just
mud
stained.
or
They just like were
It was-
stained there.
On the walls?
yeah, it looked like dirty handprints, like
That's
dirty kid handprints.
Disgusting.
Yes,
I do want to say that this story of the growl, this is the only story I've ever seen. And Deirdre and I have seen a lot of shit, and we broke into a lot of houses.
Whoops.
Hey, Linda.
But without a doubt, this is the story that shakes her the most. Like when
It
she told me
was-
for the first time, she like couldn't get through the story.
Oh, yeah,
she
no.
like it fucked her up.
like I seriously did not feel safe. We ran out of there, and we were gone.
Yeah,
like
no,
we didn't.
You didn't even tell anyone. You literally booked it, and we just
We gotta
followed
go.
you. We were
We
like,
gotta go.
they're running, so we just all
It
ran
was
too.
fucking creepy, and like the chandelier was like a chandelier in the main part when we were coming out, and it was just like moving.
You also heard footsteps following you guys
they're-
around.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
oh, yeah.
they would. I guess
was-
this is your story, but you were saying like you were trying to like run away from the sound, and it was
Yeah.
following you.
Yeah, because it was like a big circle. The house.
Anyway, that was good. You did a
You
good
like
job.
that?
Holy crap.
That was really good.
Okay, good.
For some reason, I can't stop picturing the hotel like hanging off a cliff.
You've got to see it. Like, look up pictures.
How did you eat feeling like you weren't going to fall
No,
through?
it's scary, and people go in there, and it's like literally rotting because of the mist coming up from the rivers, and people go in there and like fuck around, and I'm like,
Because you know that like old like mildewy smell
Exactly.
when wood is like
oh no. And there are videos, like if you
Decomposing.
go to YouTube, like it's a big thing, like people are like, oh, I'll give you a tour. There are, if you go to like the side with the rivers, literally the walls have decayed.
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
just like all mold and mildew, and people are walking around in that. I'm like, you're gonna fucking fall.
Oh my god.
I'm just creeped out, so creeped out. All right, guys, are you ready for it? Mudda?
No.
I know, me neither, but here we are.
Okay, take it away.
Deirdre, are you ready for me to tell you about a murder for the first time ever?
I'm really excited.
Oh, see, someone appreciates me. Thank you. Well, that's good. Okay, guys. Oh, Blaze.
And Blaze enters the scene.
Are you ready for a murder?
Come on, Blaze.
He's like, how do I talk myself out of this? Okay. I have a story. Because I'm vain, it's about a woman named Christine.
no surprise there.
Actually, what I was going to do is, since you two were both on the podcast, I was like, oh, I'm going to find a fun, like, themed story. I looked up, like, best friend murder, and then it got really...
Yay.
It's honestly a surprise that neither of us have murdered each other.
Yeah. I was like, that'll be cute and fun. And then I looked at about 6 stories, and everyone, I was like, oh no. Like, so I do have a story.
About you instead. Great. We got it.
No, it's about friends. It is about, but it's very dark. So I don't want to be like, ha ha ha. It's about you guys.
Well, I can't wait to try and make this funny for people.
You're welcome. I've given you a lofty task. All right, here we go. So this is a story of Christine Paolilla.
There you are with the names.
I
weird names.
went on a 2020. I watched a 2020 episode just to figure out how to pronounce her fucking last name. And then the 2020 episode was so good that I just watched the whole thing. But yeah, Christine Paolilla was born in Long Island. When she was 2 years old, her father was killed in a construction accident. Her mom began abusing drugs and eventually lost custody of her and her older brother, John, who went to live with their grandparents. In kindergarten, Christine was diagnosed with alopecia, which is where your hair falls out. So she lost her hair, her eyebrows, and her eyelashes, and she began wearing wigs and makeup to like try and cover it up. And she was in kindergarten, so she was like
That's
a little
fucked up.
girl. So she was like bullied all the time. She was called a clown because she drew her eyebrows on. It was very sad. And she had like different wigs that she was wearing. Several years later, she was reunited with her mother after her mother had beaten her drug addiction and had gotten remarried. And they moved to Clear Lake City, Texas, a suburb of Houston. And Christine started Clear Lake High School. So, having been bullied all her life, she was super excited when 2 popular students named Rachel Coloradus and Tiffany Rowell befriended her. And they were like the cool girls at her school.
I mean,
Seeing how this goes.
yeah, that's Regina George in the dark.
Well, see, the interesting thing is they helped her improve her appearance so that she could like fit in and be comfortable.
Like
so
Regina George, right?
So exactly. So they helped her like find wigs that like fit her face and like made her look more normal. They taught her how to do her makeup. And so it reminds me kind of like a Clueless, but like,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
like
yeah.
they like
Sure.
adopted her as like,
Right. Okay.
so they were her best friends. And so the 3 of them got really close. And the makeover was actually so successful that she was voted Miss Irresistible by
This is
her
literally Mean Girls. This is Mean Girls.
by her school class, by her class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did she break the crown into a bunch of pieces and toss them into the audience?
She took her wig and just snipped pieces.
Wow.
Okay.
Like RuPaul's Drag Race. Just ripping the weave off.
Ripping the weave off for everyone in her class. And that same year, so it was 2003, that same year she started dating 21-year-old Christopher Lee Snyder.
How old is she again?
17.
And what year is this? Is this like
2003.
I don't like that.
Who had an extensive criminal record and was a frequent drug user.
Well, there we are.
So she started experimenting with various drugs when they were together. Obviously, her family did not approve. It was an abusive relationship. She was an extremely jealous girl. His family actually called her Psycho. That was like their nickname for her.
That's a good nickname.
When they had... it's really original.
Creative.
Like,
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone call
I
it that.
can't wait to date someone who calls me that.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
whose family calls you that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So after fights with Christopher, she'd a lot of times spend the night on the front lawn of his family's home. She would like threaten to kill his family. Like she just was a very jealous girl, and then she was trying all these drugs and stuff, so it was not good.
Yikes.
One day on July 18, 2003, she and Christopher, her boyfriend, drove to Tiffany, one of the girls' houses, and brutally murdered her and Rachel, her 2 best friends, and their boyfriends.
Holy crap.
It's
That's
kind
like
of
a
reminding me of,
turn.
like the Heathers now.
Yeah.
It took a turn. All 4 victims, so it was the 2 girls, her best friends, excuse me, and their boyfriends. And all 4 victims were shot multiple times. After they left the crime scene, Christine told Christopher she had to go back inside to, quote, make sure they're all dead.
Oh, just in case.
She saw Rachel crawling on the floor trying to dial 911 on her cell phone, despite having been shot 12 times.
Holy crap.
So
That girl's got moxie.
So she used the butt of her pistol to bash her skull in.
Oh, God.
That's so much more intimate. Just shoot her again.
Just,
I mean, don't do it. Don't. But I mean, if you have,
yeah, just bash her skull in.
that's meaner.
Then she shot both women in the crotch
That's rude.
after they were dead, which is supposedly like a
That's
sign.
intimate.
That's
Emily.
that's the intimate.
And you spoke too soon.
I know.
But
Per usual.
supposedly psychologically, that's like an indicator of sexual envy. So
Right.
Neither of the men were shot in the crotch, so she just shot the women there. So it's an interesting
God.
thing. An hour after the murders, Christopher, her boyfriend, drove Christine to Walgreens so she could clock in for her shift behind the makeup counter.
Casual.
Just fun fact.
Yeah, because I know after I do my killing, I want to go to Walgreens.
And teach people how to put on... Choking to death.
The poison is working, Deirdre.
Oh my God, Deirdre's trying to take over the podcast. And teach people how to put on eyeliner. Okay. I'm back.
Back in the game.
So Christopher and Christine left practically no evidence at the scene. The police assumed the murders were drug related because Tiffany and Rachel's boyfriends had sold drugs from the house. And all they had as far as evidence went was descriptions of the suspects from neighbors who witnessed two people leaving the house. And so they had a sketch artist come in and draw like what the neighbors had seen from a distance. It wasn't very clear evidence. And the killings were so brutal that police just assumed they were the result of deep, deep personal hatred. They called it complete overkill, and they couldn't imagine it was the work of a 17-year-old best friend of the two girls who had been murdered. So
imagine a murder being called overkill. Like how brutal must that have been?
Like absolute overkill. And the case went unsolved for 3 years because...
Seriously?
For 3 years because...
Why?
Because of the things I just said, that they couldn't imagine a 17-year-old girl.
I know, but they couldn't like close it at all?
No, for 3 years they had no leads. They had these crazy campaigns, it was national news. And they just couldn't figure it out because they left like zero evidence. And it was such a shocking, like out of nowhere thing that like nobody was like, oh, she had motive. Like she was her best friend. It just didn't add up. So a year after the murders, Christine and her boyfriend, the guy who she killed them with,
right,
broke up when he went to jail for car theft. So, and she had gotten like hooked on drugs at this point, like she was not in a good place. So she went to rehab in Kerrville, Texas, where she met Stanley Justin Rott, a heroin user, and they started dating and fell in love. They married the following year, and Christine actually came into a trust fund left to her from her father, valued at $360,000 because of his like construction accident, because he'd been killed on the job. So there was like, so like when she turned 18, she got like
buku bucks,
the money. Yeah. So they bought a condo with that money and lived together. And in the 2020 episode, they interview the guy,
Stanley Rott.
Yeah. Okay. And they interviewed him, and he said like the first couple years, or like the beginning was so happy. We were so happy. And he like showed them the condo that they had bought. And then one day, in the 2020 episode that I watched, she started devolving to this like deep depression because she had like stopped using drugs, and she went to this deep depression over the death of her friends. And he was like, yeah, she was just in this horribly dark place, like understandable. And then one day she requested that he drive her to a billboard, and on the billboard were sketches of the suspects that like the sketch artist had drawn 3 years ago, and they had kept the billboard up. So she drove her boyfriend there and just said, do you think that looks like me?
Oh.
And it looked just like her. And he was like, what? And I guess she had a breakdown and like confessed everything to him.
Oh.
And after that, she became like completely paranoid, obsessed, started hallucinating, like just went off the deep end, confessed what she had done with her ex-boyfriend in detail. And then they started using again. They went to hiding.
What the fuck is this?
There's some kind of mental illness here, right?
Oh, there's gotta be. I mean, there's gotta be. You don't shoot people.
No, you don't.
Well, that's the moral. That's the moral of the story. So what they did was they spent 8 months in a motel room in San Antonio shooting up heroin and cocaine. Every day they would go to the ATM, take out $500, and then just use that much of cocaine and heroin.
Oh my God, $500 a day?
Daily.
Wow.
That and food they spent the full $500 every day.
Oh my God.
I was reading an article in the New York Post by a guy named Larry Getlin, and he said that they were living on Cheez-Its, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and soda, and then heroin and cocaine, and they spent
So the $500 wasn't really even going to food at all.
No, yeah, it was on Cheetos and cocaine. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
She never left the room once the entire time for 7 months.
Wow.
He would leave to like pick up food and drugs and stuff, but
What a gentleman.
I know, what a guy. They never let housekeeping in, so by the time that by the end of the 7 months, the room was strewn with blood, vomit, dog feces. There were over 100 needles in the room.
The fuck?
That whole time, her mom and stepdad had no idea, like, whether she was alive, where she was, because, like, she had been in rehab, she was happy, she'd bought a condo, and then she just, like, vanished. So they were like, she must have overdosed, or, like, so they were looking for her, and nobody knew what the fuck was going on. And then on July 8th, 2006, so that was like 7 months later after they'd been living in this hellhole, 10 days before the 3rd anniversary of the murders, the police received an anonymous tip via Crime Stoppers regarding the murders. It was a male caller who said he had been in rehab with Christine and she had admitted to having participated in the crime. And the caller was her husband, Mr. Rott. Stanley? What's his first name?
Stanley Rott.
Stanley Rott. And he had called in and turned her in after 7 months.
Yikes.
Wow.
So police tracked them down in San Antonio because it was like an anonymous tip. So they tracked her down in San Antonio. They arrested her on July 19, 2006. But he was also arrested because they found 70 vials of heroin in their motel room.
Holy crap.
70. On top of the 100 plus needles and everything else.
That makes our parties look like nothing.
Yeah.
God, you guys were so lame.
That's a different kind of party.
We're like
Other league.
eating like birthday pudding and they're, you know.
Yeah, to each his own, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
We like breaking into houses, so.
It's fine.
That's sad, and she's still she's young here.
Yeah,
right?
she's 21 maybe?
Aww. That's
like,
too young.
Before your brain's even fully developed. Like, she's young.
Shit.
College age.
That's
yeah.
not good. That's not good. That's not good.
So her husband, Stanley, admitted to the police when they interrogated both of them that Christine had confessed her participation in the murders. He told police that she had gone back into the house after the shootings and beat Rachel to death with a gun. Like, she had told him all this. Christine at first denied killing her friends. And eventually admitted to being involved, but blamed her ex-boyfriend for the whole thing. She said that he had convinced her to go to their house to rob them because they had, like, drug money, like they were selling marijuana or something. And she said that he convinced her to go rob them, but surprised her by thrusting a pistol in her hand before the robbery. Then said he surprised her again during the robbery when he made the first shot. And she said that the first shot triggered a rampage inside her. This is from a Guardian article I read.
Oh my God.
And she claimed the gun just went off on its own and she just began firing rapidly and sobbing the whole time. Yeah, that's basically what she claimed, is that, like, it triggered, like, a reaction.
Like, she just didn't know how to, like, take her finger off the trigger?
Yeah, and she was just, like, somehow managing to shoot her friend 12 times in the crotch. Like, oops.
Oh, shit.
You know?
Right. What kind of gun is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Machine gun?
Like a laser pointed gun. I don't know. Like a target heat-seeking missile. I don't know.
I've never been that mad at someone that I just blacked out and they didn't have a crotch.
And shot them 12 times.
Have you shot anyone, Emily?
How mad? No?
I don't think so.
Good. Moving on.
As far as
Let's
I know.
not dive too deep into that topic.
Okay.
But police said that actually the crime scene, the way that they assessed it, showed a clear-eyed execution. So it was, like, very methodical, very planned.
Oh, no.
They counted 40 shots fired. Most of them were directed at Tiffany and Rachel. And on July, and there was actually, it was horrifying. They showed a photo. They had, like, crime scene photos on the internet. But there's a photo of Rachel after she had died, and her cell phone is, like, in her hand, or, like, an inch from her hand.
Oh, like
And
she was about to call 911.
And they said her fingerprints were on 9 and 1.
Oh,
That's
God.
so sad.
Really,
But then her head was bashed in.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. So on July 21st, 2006, Christine and Christopher, and they still hadn't found Christopher at this point.
Okay.
Well, because, like, they had broken up a long time ago.
Right.
Were both charged with capital murder. It turns out that Christopher had moved to Greenville, South Carolina, and was living with a woman he met online. One of his family members called him to inform him that police were looking for him and had issued a warrant for his arrest. So he disappeared into the woods with a bottle of pills and some soda, and his body was found on August 5th, 2006, dead from a deliberate drug overdose. So Christine was the only one on the stand, on trial at that point. And thanks in part to her testimony from her husband, who had heard the whole confession, basically.
Right.
A jury convicted her of 4 counts of capital murder, but she was a minor when the killings occurred because she was only 17. So she was spared the death penalty and was sentenced to 40 years to life in prison.
Good.
And it's still not entirely clear why she brutally murdered her best friends. There was no clear motive.
What is one of their best guesses that she was with that guy who was super abusive, right? He could have probably just manipulated her into it.
I mean, the thing was that she was extremely abusive with him. It was an abusive relationship more that she...
So it was probably drugs then,
he wasn't a great guy either. He was a drug addict and whatever, but she was also the one sleeping on his lawn and threatening to kill his family. So
yeah, and she's the one that shot their crotches and put all the bullets in them.
Right,
It
fair.
seemed like it was her choice.
That sounds a lot like an intentional thing to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's interesting because she had called these 2 girls the only people who would never stab me in the back. And that was the way she described them, because they truly were best friends.
But I'll shoot them in the crotch.
Yeah, they won't stab me, so I'll fucking put 40 bullets in them. I mean,
God.
But most people, including a psychologist who studied the case, believe it was an intense case of jealousy. And they think that since she grew up in this horrible bullying situation, and then these popular girls, quote unquote, took her under their wing, and they weren't mean girls. They took care of her and helped her, but they were really beautiful and had boyfriends and stuff. And I guess
she was still insecure.
A lot of people think that she just had a jealous rage toward them, and she was experimenting with drugs. So who knows what exacerbated it. So her boyfriend Chris, the one who had committed suicide, his sister was quoted as saying, his sister Brandy was quoted as saying, "I remember Christine being intensely jealous. There must have been some underlying jealousy between Christine and Rachel. When I saw photos of Rachel, I knew that's what it must be. She was so beautiful." And the 2 girls had been shot in the crotch multiple times, and the guys hadn't. So it's just a very dark, deliberate thing. And it's looking at the photos, she had wigs and makeup, and then the photos where she's at her trial, she
what does she
doesn't
look like?
have much hair, just a little bit, and she doesn't have facial hair, eyebrows, and she just is crying. It's very sad. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but
Right. Well, ask Blaze.
psychologically speaking, it sounds like she had some issues. I don't think she was a psychopath, because she was clearly so distraught and had emotional damage from it. Yeah, she was hallucinating them in her dreams and stuff. But anyway, so
Sad friendship story.
so that's me trying to make a fun theme for our podcast.
Not all friendships last, I guess.
So good luck having a nice slumber party tonight, guys.
At least we're past that age, and neither of us was cool.
Neither of us were cool.
Right, neither one was taking the other one.
I wore Hawaiian
No.
shirts for an entire year.
Yeah. She told me to tell everyone.
What did I tell?
She used to dress and look like Shia LaBeouf
I did.
from Even Stevens.
That's why we drink. That's why I drink.
Good.
That's why I drink my 19 Crimes wine from Kirk. Oh boy, guys. Deirdre, how was that? Did you enjoy it, or was it just a hellish experience for you?
No, it was good. It was probably pretty accurate.
It's pretty much what we prepared you for, right?
Yes.
Just a big mess. Oh,
Absolutely.
good. Good. I'm glad we could deliver on what we promised.
A big mess.
A big mess.
Perfect.
You did a really good job with your story too.
Well, yours was the only one that was coherent and on time. Mm-hmm. And then we derailed quickly.
That was one of the only stories that you've gone through that I haven't experienced with you. But we've gone through a lot of stuff on our own.
We've seen a lot of shit.
Do you have a favorite experience that we've had?
I really liked when we went to the Homestead together, which is this really weird old place, hotel out right on the West Virginia line.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's a hotel?
It's a hotel. It's like a really old resort, and they have a bunch of hot springs around it. Like Thomas Jefferson went there.
Oh my
It's really
God.
old. It's from like this. It's pre-Revolutionary War.
Jesus.
Yeah, so this is really, really super old hotel. And my family goes there every year for like Christmas. And one year, me and Emily went together.
Oh, God.
And like probably the biggest ghost there is, so there's a 13th floor, but in the elevator it just skips it. Like,
Right.
it goes straight to the 14th. So the 13th floor is completely shut down. And I guess it used to be the old maid's quarters, and apparently there's a bride, like a ghost bride, that will stop you and ask you what time it is.
Stop.
Yeah.
Wait, a ghost bride?
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
gonna
The
miss her
story,
wedding?
no, yeah. So the story is that a bride was supposed to get married one day, and then the fiance got cold feet and left. Yeah.
Oh, no.
He left her alone in her room on the 13th floor, and then after she realized that he wasn't coming, she killed herself. It's really sad. Yeah.
Oh,
so now she
no.
wanders the 13th floor, and if you're up there, you're not supposed to be on the 13th floor if you're a guest. But if you're up there, there's a bride that will stop you and ask you what time it is so she can get to her wedding. She can figure out where her fiance is.
Makes me...
It's really sad.
That really breaks my heart.
It's a sad one. But also, there are other things that happen there. Like, one of the big things is that people get locked in the bathrooms. Or they get locked in rooms. Yeah.
Speaking of the bathrooms locking people in, that's a perfect segue for me to tell you my side,
Oh, no.
aka the fucking truth
Oh, no.
of this story. Deirdre to this day does not fully believe me, but I swear on everything, on Geo,
Okay, now we're getting real here.
that this happened. I went with them, and she's got a big family, so everyone brought their own friends, and it was like a big party, essentially. There was a big group of us.
Was it like a birthday?
No, it was like they go every year as a tradition, and then usually each sibling gets to bring a friend.
Oh.
So I went, and I think I'd been aware that it was haunted. I'm not really sure, but at the time, nothing clicked. There was never like a realization of what was happening was a ghost. But when we first got there, immediately everyone in our party started getting locked in the bathroom, even though there was no, like, the door wasn't wedged at all. It wasn't stuck. It just wouldn't open at all. Or like the handle would be totally loose. It's not like the door felt locked. It's that you just couldn't pull the door.
Ugh.
No, it's like somebody was like leaning up against the door.
It's like someone was holding you in there. And the first time it happened, it was kind of stuck and you could pull it open. And then the second time it stuck even longer, and eventually got to a point where Deirdre was stuck in there for like 2 hours. And I could just hear her from the other side going, "Guys, this isn't funny. I really need you to not lean on the door." And we were like trying to crack it open, and we could not get the door open.
Oh, you poor thing.
And how old are we? 14?
No, we were probably like 12, 13.
I remember us on the car ride being like, "I can't believe we're going to start high school soon."
No.
Yeah.
No. There's no way.
So we're already in disagreement about...
No.
Yeah, because Ryan was 16. That makes us 14.
So maybe 8th grade.
I remember this because it fucked me up, and no one believes me. So that started happening, and I never put together that all of these different situations would make sense that we were being haunted in this room. So people kept getting locked in the bathroom, and it was getting increasingly worse. And then every night, the French doors that opened into the room kept busting open by themselves with no wind. There was no storm.
In the middle of the night?
Yeah, by themselves.
Emily Emily had one of the like rollaway beds, and it was like right up against the French doors.
So they kept smacking it to me in the middle of the night. So, and also, I had a cot for the first night, and then your stepmom and Johnny started sleeping in that room. So Johnny got the rollaway, and I got the fucking chair. I got to sleep in the chair
poor thing.
for the rest of the trip.
You're welcome.
But I also didn't mind because the doors kept smacking me in the middle of the night. And I remember this was the first night where I was the only one that for some reason woke up. And at the time, knowing her family so well that like they're all deep sleepers, I was just like, maybe I'm the only one awake because they're deep sleepers. But something was only waking me up because I would try to wake them up. I was like pushing all of them, like shoving them. I was like, what's going on? Why are the doors opening? There's not a storm outside. It's literally opening. And if I pushed on them, I could feel a pushback, like something was holding them as if it was really windy and the door was pushing itself open, but there was no wind.
Ugh.
And so I was like, fuck this. So I think that's why I moved to the chair. I was like, Johnny can have the cot. I don't want this. So, like, those two things should have made sense. And then the thing that happened that...
Get to it.
Okay,
All right, so there's clearly some disagreement happening.
Deirdre's
I'm going to be Judge Judy. Go ahead.
sister, Julia, got to bring her friend named Julianne, who I don't know. Like, there's no reason for Julianne to ever approach me before...
We need to get Julianne on the show.
Yeah, let's find her.
Can we do a call-in?
We need Twitter to go find Julianne. I don't know what her last name is.
Julianne in Virginia?
Yes.
Are you there?
I should have been the last person she ever spoke to if she needed help with anything.
What is it?
What help?
I'll get there.
Em, literally, what
Okay.
the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so
Weird fucking story. I don't even know what to do with it.
Here's the thing, like, Emma's told me this story, but I already forget what the fuck is going on.
So I was asleep on the chair. Everyone else was asleep in their beds and cots. And in the middle of the night, Julianne, has to be 3 a.m, which of course is the perfect hour to do something like this. She wakes up. I notice she's not blinking. I will tell you that now.
Okay, sleepwalkers don't blink, though.
Okay, fine. Maybe she's sleepwalking. Maybe. But this story did happen regardless if it was sleeping
Okay.
or whatever.
Just adding that fun fact.
So she woke me up in the middle of the night and she kept saying my name. And I woke up and I was like, what? And she was like, I forgot my purse downstairs. And I'm like, okay, go tell Julia, the person you came with, or her mom, or one of her siblings. Like, you don't know me. Why would I help you at 3 a.m? So there's so many people she could have talked to first because we're both guests on this trip. I'm not about to leave while everyone's sleeping. And so Julianne's she's being really aggressive. She was like, I need my purse. And I was like, go ask someone else. I'm trying to sleep. It's 3 a.m. And then eventually she kicked I was on a chair with a hassock, so your feet go up.
Yeah.
She kicked it until my feet fell off. And she was like, you need to go downstairs now.
What the fuck?
And I was like, why? She was getting really mean about it. And I was like, why? And she said, you're not supposed to be here.
What a little bitch.
And I was like, I don't know what that means. And so eventually she just got so aggressive that I was like, fine, I'll at least walk you over to the door. So I got up and I followed her and she didn't say anything. I just remember her just turning around like fucking Tron and just moving to the door. And I was like, okay. So I go over and I say, let me go to the bathroom first. And the door is stuck and she's just staring at me. She's just staring at me as if she knows I can't get in the bathroom. And then she was like, you need to go downstairs. She just kept repeating it. She's like, you can't be here. And I was like, what do you want me to fucking do? I don't have a key. I don't have shoes. If I go downstairs, I was like, I don't have any way of getting back in here. What if they wake up and see me? And she was like, you have to go. You have to get out of here. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And so eventually I was just like, I'm not going. She tried to open the door and I put my hand on her to be like, no, I'm not. I was trying to close the door when she was trying to open it.
Yeah.
When I was trying to I'm trying to figure out how to describe it, but when I tried to hold the door shut, I realized she wasn't even turning the handle. She didn't know how a door fucking worked. She just started kind of tugging on it, and I was like, that's not, what are you doing? That's not how a door works. And she looked at me and was like, I'm gonna go now. And then she turned around and went back to bed. And then I'm just standing there and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so I just went back to sleep. And then Deirdre the next day.
No.
All right, Judge Judy, bang, bang. All right, silence in the court. Your turn to speak.
All right, there are already some problems with this story.
All right. I'm so ready.
Because first of all, I don't know what... I was asleep for all of this. I wasn't awake. But I know for a fact that Lisa woke up and did something. She said there was some kind of, go to sleep to you at least. And that's why you went to sleep. But she says... that she...
Wait, who's Lisa?
Lisa's my stepmom.
Oh, so grown up.
Yes. So according to her, this is what... And I've asked her multiple times. I'm like, okay, tell me the truth. I still don't know. I don't know.
Deirdre will regularly be like, just honestly, I won't even be mad. Just tell me what happened. And I'm like, I'm telling you what happened.
It's just such a weird story. According to Lisa, she woke up and Emily was trying to convince Julianne to go downstairs with her to the vending machines.
I
I don't know.
Interesting.
And she got mad and then told you to go to sleep, and that's her story. But I mean,
listen,
yours had more detail.
Listen, my brother sleepwalked all his life, and he wakes up and says the creepiest shit. Again, doesn't know how doors work either. Like, he'll walk up and just like pull on things. One time when we were in Germany and we were sharing a room, and I was terrified because my grandma's house is like gigantic, and we were like put in a creepy room together.
Ugh.
And he woke up in the middle of the night and just was staring at me, and he doesn't blink, and then he goes, "I lost it," and it was like out of a fucking horror movie, and I was like, what the hell? And I was reading a book, and I remember that I put the book, it was like Harry Potter or something, and I like lifted it to cover his face because I was terrified.
I can't look at you.
And then I lowered it, and he was closer, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then he walked over to my bed, and he's like, I said I can't find it. And it was out of a horror movie, and I'm like, can't find what? And he goes, I can't find it anywhere. And then he grabbed my covers, he ripped them off the bed, and was like, I can't find them, and just started screaming. And I'm like, oh my God, where's my mother, like, in this house? And what I did was I locked him out of the bedroom because I was like, yeah, it's over here, whatever you're looking for. And then I just like locked him out, and he was out there just like yelling and like, I can't find it. And then eventually I heard him, there was like silence, and I heard him go, Christina, hello? And I was like, hello? And he goes, what's going on? And I'm like, are you awake? He's like, yes. And I'm like, you have to prove it to me. Like, and I like quizzed him because I was so nervous. Anyway, he goes, I had a dream that I couldn't find the 8-ball because we'd been playing pool earlier, and we had like lost like the 8-ball somewhere in the apartment. And he goes, I had a dream that I couldn't find the 8-ball. And I'm like, I fucking hate you. But yeah, he did the same thing where he was just like tugging on the door, and I'm like, I was like, let me open that for you. And then I locked him out.
I feel like that does make sense that she was sleepwalking.
Sleepwalkers do crazy
that
shit.
That sounds like it checks out.
So she could have been sleepwalking, but for a while I was fucking convinced that she was possessed.
Well, no, but it's scary as shit.
Especially after everything else that had happened. I was like, of course this would be like the next level shit after a couple days of being here.
It's scary as shit.
And for several years afterwards, I was terrified to ever be in the same room as your stepmother because I thought that she hated me for breaking out for vending machine snacks, which does sound like something I would
I was
do.
going to say, actually, that's kind of a likely story. Maybe you were sleepwalk, or do you not sleepwalk?
I sleepwalk, but only in my room at my house, and I wake up, like, this has happened multiple times. I'll wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm sitting up, and my light's on. It's fucking creepy. It's so scary.
Ew, I'd like to see a camera of you just, like, waking up and, like, turning the light on.
No,
and just sitting
not
there.
At all. It's so creepy when I come out of it, because it's always the same thing, like, I'm just sitting up. And
that is fucking
and my
creepy.
lights are on. And I don't know how I got there.
I'm glad you stay there, though, because my brother, I don't have a lock on my room at home, and he used to just stand at the foot of my bed and just stare at me. Like, it was, like, out of the fucking Exorcist. Like, he would just stand there and, like, kind of
like
wave
wobble.
like, wobble back and forth. And he doesn't blink when he sleepwalks, and his eyes are, like, bloodshot red, and he'll just stare directly at your face. It is probably the scariest thing, and it's, like, explainable, because it's like, oh, he's sleepwalking, but it's also like, oh no, he's a demon right now, and I will throw shit at him. I don't care if you're not supposed to wake sleepwalkers. Like, I will violently throw things at him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so creepy.
The only experience I've had where I was not the sleepwalker was with my brother too, and we were at some random house in Pennsylvania.
It's always when you're out of your element. Like,
maybe
usually
that's what it is.
People sleepwalk more when they're like in a new, or traveling or in a new place.
Yeah, we were there, and we had been drinking a little bit, and he passed out somewhere, and then we were all up still drinking in another room, and I realized he was missing or whatever, and I went to go check on him, and he wasn't.
Sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, this was
missing.
actually terrifying, and it was in a house I hadn't been to either before, and I went to go check on him, and he wasn't there. So I'm just walking down like this dark hallway, and I'm like, Ian,
are you there?
Ian, where are you? And so like there's a door, like one of the bedroom doors is open, so I'm like, okay. I go in there, and I'm like just looking for him, and this was like a pitch black room, so I turn the light on there. He's not. I don't see him in there. Then I like go to open the closet. He's standing in the closet in the dark, facing the wall by himself.
My God.
It was the scary. That's probably one of the scariest things I've ever.
That's some Blair Witch Project
terrified.
Shit. That's
exactly. That's exactly what it was like. That scene where he's about to get killed. That's what it was, and I was like, Ian.
I would have just
right?
shut the fucking door and
Yeah.
been like, never again.
Yeah, and then he started peeing, so it broke the weirdness. The fear.
The trance.
The weirdness continued, but
The fear was gone.
Right, like it turned into a different kind of weird.
it was different. It was different after that.
It got scary in a different way.
Do we have time for one more story?
Absolutely.
Do you want to talk about Slaughter Pen?
Yeah, you started.
What the fuck is that?
We still, for people who went there all the time, I still know very little history about what happened in the Slaughter Pen. Do you know any?
Were people slaughtered?
It was a farm. They slaughtered cows and pigs, maybe. Yeah,
Like a slaughterhouse. Yeah.
it's a national landmark. I'm pretty sure, and that's because there was a battle fought during the Civil War there. So
Ew.
yeah,
Is it like abandoned or is it still a slaughterhouse?
no, it's abandoned. It's all I don't know though. Might be the ghosts. Might be somebody there. There's definitely a lot of activity, and especially when you first come up to it, there's like a farmhouse there, and there have been lights on, like weird colored lights on inside of it.
So it's a farmland, and there's a bunch of different.
Where is it, by the way?
It's in our town, Fredericksburg, Virginia,
It's off Route 2.
off Route 2.
Route 2.
I need to triangulate every
Yeah.
location that I hear.
It's right by the field house.
Everything has like a name, like the slaughterhouse, the field house, what was the other one?
Well,
The Bowman Distillery.
That's the best one.
Cece and your brother got married at the old silk mill.
Holy shit, you guys. You can't
a good time.
You can't make this shit up.
So, it's a giant plantation with a bunch of buildings off of it. All the buildings are different types of barns, and some house the animals, some were, I guess, used to butcher the animals. There's like a whole barn just full of hay. There's a barn that was clearly just used for storage, but there's up front a house where I guess the farmer at the time lived.
Like the family.
Yeah. And then in the back, there's another house.
There are probably about 10 to 15 buildings in all. There are quite a few.
This is creeping me
There's
out.
like a couple big barns with hay, and then there are like stalls, like maybe horse stalls or animals. I don't know, cows, and then just probably slaughter buildings.
Ugh.
And there was, but they're all right next to each other. So since it's a landmark, a lot of people who are historian buffs, which is just about everyone in Virginia, because that's how we're raised, you'll just go and walk around and wander. But we were teenagers and reckless, so we liked going into the places that were restricted. And so one of them was a house in the back, and the one that we were talking about with the lights was the one up front. So the one up front, when you look through it was very weird because half the time this happened and half the time it didn't, at least for me. But when you look through the window, it looked really clean, like someone could still possibly be living there. And then if you turned around and went in the back where you could look through the windows, it looked like a kitchen that like was abandoned 50 years ago. Like cabinets were open, like old cat food was on the floor. It's like someone truly just up and left.
Ugh.
But that's half of the house, and the other half of the house looks like it's livable.
The first farmhouse when you first come in, it looks fine. Like if you went in, you'd be okay. You're like walking around, there aren't any holes or anything unexpected.
Right. And there's the one in the back that is just totally in disrepair. Like
It's like a separate house.
there's like
Yeah,
a
it's
bunch of
another
different.
house.
Is it like a servant's quarter?
I don't know. Maybe.
Like a barn? Like, you know
It
how
looks.
they...
It looks like a house on the inside. There's a kitchen and a living room
Is
and a
it
staircase up to
smaller?
rooms. Yeah,
It's smaller.
It's probably like the farmhands or whatever. had, like-
probably. We have no idea. All we know is we went in it a lot. You have to walk down this huge hill, like not the hill, like down this path, like a dirt path.
Yeah.
You have to go past this cornfield, and when you get to the house, because it's never used or really kept up, there was a door that was missing, so you just walk right into the house.
Ugh.
And if you went in, there was definitely a spot that used to be a dining room. There's a place that was a kitchen, but now like a tree's growing out of it.
Oh,
like
geez.
it's old and abandoned. There's a fridge there. Like it looks like nothing got moved out. It's just like nature is growing around
Sure.
it now. And the carpet's like half ripped out, and there's like a hole in the middle of the house. There's
Do you
like,
know when this place was from? Like, is there a year that it was
don't-
like...
I mean, it's pre-Civil War. I don't
Jesus.
know.
That's creepy enough. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, It's at least 150 years old.
Oh
I guess,
my
or more. Yeah.
God. Wait, why was there carpet?
I think
someone, it
like
must have
just
been
being
kept getting lived in.
Yeah,
until a
it was
point.
used up until a point.
There was a staircase there too that I think you were the guinea pig for that, but someone slowly went up the stairs to see if it was like if we were able to get up there. And after going a couple times, we slowly started going up the stairs and seeing what was in the different rooms. And did
Oh
you
my God,
ever go into the bedroom with the dresser with the handprints? So there was in one of the rooms there was one part of the room that we never went into because it looked like a loft and we were like sure that it would cave through if we
Sure.
stood up there. But on the other side there was what looked like a one bedroom, and when you go into the closet part, there's still a dresser up there with children's like little kid handprints, almost as if it was a dusty dresser and they put their hands on the dresser and then swiped, so you can see like a dust
Good.
stain
Fabulous.
of children's hands swiping away, which makes me think like was a kid getting pulled away, which something to think about.
No,
I like to think something dramatic happened.
I think it's weirder if a kid went like this
right
than if a kid went like that.
I tell myself a kid got yanked away. I want it to be worse than it is. Let me have my moment.
All right.
Okay, so
A kid got yanked away from the dresser.
we were starting to go a lot, and we started. At least I did, and I think you did too. And a couple of our other friends started feeling like attachments to this place. Like,
Oh, God.
we started going a lot.
Yeah. There's some kind of weird draw about it. Like even now thinking about it, I'm like, I could go back.
Well,
Yeah.
actually,
I'd be all right with
the
it.
first thing you said, I was like, I wish I'd been there.
yeah, I don't know. There's something.
I wanna
really
go.
alluring about it. Well, we'll take you.
Also,
No, I don't want to.
it's easy to get stuck and like wanting to go because it's also a very beautiful place. Like a lot of like
Yeah.
senior high schoolers get their pictures done because it's nature
Picturesque.
and yeah, it's very picturesque.
Oh yeah, no, and also I forgot about this, but like one of the first times we went like right before sunset, and there was another guy out there, like an older guy. I think he had like a metal detector and like recording equipment. He was just like, yeah, I come out here all the time to speak to the ghosts, and like, yeah, he was just like all about the place. Like, yeah, this is a great place. It's a great place to go. He's like, go down there, you'll hear some stuff, and we're like, oh,
What the
we should hang out around here.
What the fucking hell?
Yeah, this is a guy like probably like his 60s, just
Dude, I want to be that. That's going to be,
It'll be me.
yeah, that'll be
Oh,
Em.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he was like telling us stories. I can't remember most of it now, though.
If you drove up at the right time, there were like weird colored lights
I
and
still don't understand that.
and there were like, it was like green purple lights in the top window. And this is a house that like isn't used anymore. That no one's paying an electric bill. Like there should be no lights going on.
What the fuck?
And it was going on and off as if there was a TV up there. And you could see like something walking back and forth by the window.
Like literally, it looked like rave lights. Like somebody's having a rave up in that. I don't. It
was very weird. And
it's just weird.
Like I was getting really scared because I just felt like this weird negative energy when I would drive by it at that point. And my friend didn't believe me that the lights were there. And so I said, okay, well, I'll drive by the house. I'm going to stay in the main road since it's the middle of the night. No one's going to come by. And you can look at the window, and then once you believe, we're going to drive away because I don't want to be near this house. And she looked up, and 3 seconds later, she like did this weird gasp and freaked out. And she turned around to me in the car and was like hysterically crying. And she was like, just drive.
What?
And I was like, why? What happened? She was like, fucking drive. And so I drove, and 10 minutes later or so, she was like, I saw the thing walking back and forth by the window, and it turned and looked at me and had laser red eyes. And I was like, okay, we're never going back.
Dude, fuck that nonsense right now.
Anyway, that was that story.
Fun.
We did a lot of stupid stuff like that, but
It's better than drugs. Anyway, guys, that was our first special guest episode featuring Deirdre.
yeah.
Thanks for dealing with everything that just happened.
To anyone who stuck around long enough to hear all this, thank you. Sorry for your next therapy session. Do you have anything you'd like to say before we close out?
I do just want to say one thing, which I feel like I say every week, but we got a couple new iTunes reviews, and they're so nice and
Aw.
thoughtful, and I'm like, people took the time to write. So I always get emotional, and then I screenshot all of them and send them to Em like a crazy person. But thank you guys for for subscribing and reviewing, because I personally sit there and go through them all.
I do too. Thank you, everyone who listens. If this was your first time, sorry.
Oh, God, sorry.
And You can follow us on ATWW Podcast on Twitter.
TWWD.
God damn it.
You do that Southern thing where you just like leave off the last letter.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. ATWWD Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can follow Christine, or you can follow me, or you can follow Gio.
Or all of the above.
Or all of us.
Or Deirdre.
Or Deirdre. Would you like to do a shout out, Deirdre?
Our special guest.
She's like, Deirdre's in the closet, apparently.
She goes, no thanks.
Ghost now.
She goes, I regret being associated with this project.
You can also find us at andthat'swhywedrink.com, and you can send in your listeners' episodes at andthat'swhywedrink@gmail.com. Our next listeners' episode comes out July 1st.
My birthday's in 7 minutes. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye!
Just kidding. I had to say it one more time before we...
You want to do it with us, Deirdre?
Do what?
And that's why we drink.
Oh.
And
that's why we drink. Oh, we're so good at this.